Hello and welcome back. Today, we're digging. Alright? Because this is, I just had two of my friends powwow with me on this and they're so wise. Oh, I'm so appreciative for my friends. They're so smart. Okay. We're talking about lying. Lying. When you lie, you are actually afraid. The root of dishonesty is fear. Let me show you visual numero uno. Okay. There you go. Dishonesty. The root of why you're dishonest is fear. Fear of what? One may say. I'll tell you. Let's get to the throat chakra section. Throat chakra. The color that represents the throat chakra is blue. Blue microphone. The element of nature associated with the throat chakra is ether. It's all about space, the essence of emptiness in which our true selves exist. Energy, creativity, expression, purification. Sound, ham. Position, hollow of the throat. Objective, body's communication tool, self-expression, assertiveness, expressing one's truth, and being receptive to others' creative expression. Okay, whatever. Blocked by lies. That's it. I mean, I'm sure there's other, but that's the majority. That's, when I did my research, that was what popped up. Lies. Frequency, 741 hertz. Signs your throat chakra is blocked. You are scared of speaking the truth because of being rejected by the crowd. You always please everyone. You find it difficult to speak up for yourself regarding your choices, ideas, etc. You feel unheard and misunderstood in most circumstances. Your vocal expression is too hastened and people fail to comprehend you. Physical manifestations are lockjaw like TMJ, chronic throat sickness, sore teeth, lump in throat, fogginess, confusion, depression. And then I have some healing techniques, but there's a lot. But yeah, you can use crystals, eucalyptus oil, surround yourself with the color blue, strengthening ally in our minds for healthy inner discussion, chanting mantras like Om Mane Padme Hum or the Ham, explaining yourself to yourself, understanding inner self emotions and thoughts. That's a practice I came up with. Okay. So, I believe through the powwow discussion I just had with a couple of my friends is what you're fearing is being rejected by the crowd. So we lie. But then here's another fear. My friend just dropped this nugget on me as he walked out the door. I was like, oh, nice. When you lie to others, you're afraid of people seeing past the facade you've created for yourself to believe. And others start to see the holes in your validity through your actions and how you carry yourself, not the lies you're telling, causing you to reflect on what it is you're trying to suppress through those lies. When you lie, this is what my other friend said, when you lie, not only is it coming from a root of fear, that fear of rejection or that fear of opinion, a negative opinion, but when you lie, you then submit to the fear. You then you embody being afraid because you now have a lie narrative floating around, and you have to make sure that you constantly keep up to that lie, which puts you in a perpetual state of fear, because what if you forget the lie you've told or the web you've spun? Who did you tell the lie to? Who did you tell to help you lie? Who did you ask to lie with you? things like that. And it creates a structure of instability within self. My dad always used to say that growing up too. Like, a liar always explains himself when an honest person doesn't need to. And so that's how he always could tell when me or my brothers were lying, because we always had this fabricated narrative to go with it to back up the validity of the lie, to almost validate the lie. And that was always his telltale sign that you're lying. And what sucks is it isn't really about other people, because at this point in life, they just won't trust you anymore. But at the end of the day, who does that really affect? You. And so when we start weaving these webs of lies, we do push people out of our lives, because you're untrustworthy. Because like now anything you say, where's the validity in anything you're saying? And that creates that isolated feeling, and then you're back to sitting with your own self, not even maybe recognizing what it is that happened. And in all honesty, it's the white lies. It doesn't even have to be blatant. It doesn't have to be, huge and over cumbersome or anything like that. It's just boy who cried wolf. Like, eventually people stop listening to him. And it's not about, and that's why we go back to talking about how people pleasing is an injustice to everyone, because it's a lie. So you end up blocking your throat chakra energy system, as well as not supplying them with the truth of conviction. You know what I'm saying? Like, that truth nugget could have altered the way that person perceived their world in a positive growth way, even. So, yes, let's get back to the throat chakra. I'm gonna go to the front page. What is it? Okay, here. Excuse me. All right, so chakras and their associated powers, and this is the signs of blocked energy. Throat chakra: timid, talk first, think later; dishonesty, trouble communicating, can't speak up. If you don't have those skills, what's life gonna look like? This is the sign of a healthy throat chakra: self-expression, choice, will, follow your dreams, faith, trusting life. Like, you're blocking yourself. The lies, even a white lie, any kind of lie, is blocking you from experiencing the full power that chakra has to offer you, which is freedom of expression, choice, will, following your dream, faith, trusting life, surrendering to divine will. Like, if you're missing out on those things, you're not fully experiencing the magic of what we can obtain from this reality. And that's the issue. I feel like some people think you get a blocked chakra and that means like you just feel off for a while, which is true. You do feel off. You do feel uncomfortable. But what's really happening is you're shutting down the avenue of attraction to the things, to the truths to uphold that exist within these energy systems. So every time you lie, you're not able to just surrender divine will, because you obviously feel like you're God or you are the divine, because you can manipulate and control truth, which is like a crazy power to believe you have, right? Because like my friend had said, and I agree with this, everyone knows when you're lying. It doesn't mean that they're going to know exactly what you're lying about, but there's signs that you're not being truthful to yourself. In turn, you're not being truthful to others. And I don't know who we think we're kidding when we lie to others. I think it's mostly the lie to self, because you fear yourself. You fear having to look at whatever is attached to, let's say, not lying. Okay, so if you don't lie, what's the truth? The truth that's attached, you don't feel positive about, right? Because that's why you're hiding it. So if that's the case, right. It's just hard to comprehend this right now. But like, yes, you're just lying to yourself, and you're prolonging, tackling, healing the wounds that are causing you to lie in the first place. So, yeah, never lie. I can't think of one good excuse for a lie. Okay, let's talk. And then I told this story to my friend, and she was like, wow, that is awesome, because I needed this. And I think everyone needs this. I had made a mistake and had asked mutual friends to lie for me to our other mutual friends, because I knew I already felt guilty and shameful for the mistake I had made. Now, what was beautiful was that, and terrifying, because I was like 19, but these mutual friends were all a lot older than me, and they had turned to me and they said, we do not withhold truth. That's not, and it's not because of like a personal thing. They were like, because that's not actually how anything's going to get better. And I was like, what do you mean? How could avoiding the problem not make it better? Because everyone already knows you're lying. It's just the person who's lying thinks they're going to get away with it. So what they did for me was they like held me, like brought me to these mutual friends and told them while I was there, terrified, like shaking in my boots, and told them, but not out of, look what she did, fucking asshole. Like, it wasn't that. It was, she made a mistake. And you can tell she feels guilt and shame about it, because she just asked us to lie. But we're trying to teach her this concept here. And yeah, the friends that I did wrong in the moment, they were upset in the moment, of course. But they didn't yell. They just expressed their disappointment, which obviously sucks, but necessary, right? Because now I'm co-authoring this narrative with them. I'm not leaving them out in the dust. I'm not leaving them in the cold so that they can't even put together what they're sensing subtly about the lie. I can't even allow them to partake in the experience that we both are a part of right now. And it was beautiful. We're still friends to this day. And another time something happened like that, I know, I was young. That's not an excuse, but I just, whatever. You do that. You think you know everything, and then you make a mistake, and you're like, oh, shit. So, and I remember going out of my way the second time to nip it right in the butt. Like, I went right to their house, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, and they weren't home, so I, left a note on the door, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And the response I got was like, thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you for the accountability you took because that makes me trust you more as a friend. Accountability rather than lying about the experience when everybody already knows. Especially when you're like hanging out with a bunch of intuitive ass people like I was. Like, who the F are you kidding right now? So, I needed that because I lied a lot when I was younger because of the fear of punishment. So I had to unlearn that in my adulthood because the bigger punishment, right, this was like it was in childhood though too. If I got caught in the lie, it was a bigger punishment than if I owned up to it. And that's life though. That's life. If you take accountability, like my friend used this example when she used to make mistakes at her job. If somebody was like, hey, who did this? Everyone else would be like, oh, I don't know. And she'd be like, yeah, I did that. And I was like, you're right. And she goes, and then I gained the trust of my employers when everyone else kind of got shunned in the corner. And I was like, you're right. I remember doing that kind of stuff too, but I didn't do it on purpose in that thought, like in that conscious thought. It was just because I was curious and also a little egotistical, and I wanted to know why it was wrong, right? So I'd be like, yeah, I did that. Why? Why is it, tell me what I did wrong, you know? Because I also was just like, oh, thank you, Lord, for the humbling of my ego. Appreciate that, because I could not handle that for much longer. That's exhausting. And it's true. The more you own up to your authenticity that you're messing around with. And in my opinion, you're lying to yourself about who you are. Because if you're lying to others, that means you already know you're doing something wrong. Now, if you're lying to others because you're not doing anything wrong, but you know you won't be accepted, then you're still doing something wrong by being in that room. You see what I'm saying? It's still, you're doing something incorrectly. If you have to lie, like if everyone in the room is doing drugs and drinking, and I walk in the heat and the depths of my sobriety, I will be rejected by that crowd. But also, why am I in that room? Hang out with a dog with fleas. Next thing, you're going to get fleas, you know? So I still made a mistake. And by lying, if I were to have lied in that scenario and be like, hell yeah, snort that, and drink, oh, I love whiskey, that would be me trying to be accepted in that room, which is a lie to myself, and also me doing wrong by lying to myself and lying to these people. So even though you might lie just to keep the peace, not rock the boat, whatever you think, whatever justice you think you're initiating through lies, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't work. It does not work. Ever. And you might want to contradict that and be like, well, politicians lie to us all the time, and it works. Does it? 'Cause I feel like there's riots happening. Well, I don't know what the current ones are about. I try not to look right now because it's a lot. But I'm just saying, like, in general, like, why are there people speaking up if it's not for the fact that we know we're being, you know, it's not just political figures, it's just figures in general. People with high authority and power, when we find out they lied to us, we revolt. So I'm wondering why we distance our personal selves from the reaction of revolt when it comes to lying to each other. Just because you're not in a position of power, Congress, or like a boss or whatever the case may be, why is it when you lie, it's okay, but when you get lied to by an authority figure, it's like revolt, anarchy? What's the difference? Why are you mad at the figurehead for why they lied and not for why you lie? Because you think your lies are innocent? Maybe to you, but not to the people you're lying to. They feel revolt and anarchy. And it doesn't matter what you're lying about. It's just the fact that someone can poke holes in your validity. You're holy. I'm not gonna put a bunch of apples in a bag with a bunch of holes in it, apple-sized holes. So I stop utilizing that bag and get a new one, and that bag ends up getting discarded. That's what happens. So the more holes you put in your validity, I can't pour into you at all, because it goes through those holes, and after a while, I'm going to stop using that bag. I'm going to stop pouring myself into that bag. Do you see? It's not about the lie. It's about the functionality of the human being. And if you have holes in your validity, in your personal truth, you become counterproductive to what your purpose is as a human being. Because that self-mastery is a part of that purpose. And if you're lying, then you have self-doubt. Ever since that experience with my friends, and they taught me that concept, I have never, well, except for when I became an alcoholic, but I don't lie. If you were to just ask me, I just tell you, right? Why? Because that's who I am authentically. That's me speaking my truth. And I'm not gonna go block up my chakras and miss out on these divine truths to uphold. For what? The placation of NPC characters? You know, because it's like the majority of the people, right? Or what? Because you want to fit in with the room? Or what? I don't know. I'm not sure. But you're shutting down the connection to that divine power. And you're making your life alone. You're doing it alone now. You're not doing it alongside the power of the universe, the laws of the universal laws, the laws of attraction, the laws of energy, the laws of chakra systems. You are now disconnected. The illusion is disconnection. You're always connected, but when you shut down an energy center, you are not receiving that divine power flow. It's not flowing through you. And my question is to the people who know this, they know these truths to uphold, they know the universal laws, and they still do it. They still lie. They still block their own chakras with their lifestyle. And that, I was trying to put this into words with my friend earlier. I don't know what that is. It's terrifying to me. It's also, is it that, or is it a mix of jealousy and a mixture of, I don't know, because I'm terrified of breaking those laws. I'm more scared of breaking a universal law than I am a flesh law, right? Something that we decided and we considered a law. Because, yeah, that affects me for a little bit, sure. But also breaking law is not always seen. Not saying I do these things. I'm just saying, this is the example. But when you break a universal law, that's a frequency output. So you think you're, hiding in the shadows that the universe doesn't see? No, you're literally projecting out a radio station, a frequency pinpoint directly to the universe that says, I'm a liar. Block this. You can't hide from universal laws. So if you think, okay, so let's say it's not about lying to people, even though we covered that. It's not about you lying to yourself. It's about you shutting down the direct flow of energy through your chakra systems, which then stagnate and suppress emotion. Next thing you know, you start to manifest that suppressed fear into your waking reality. Also, it's going to shred apart your solar plexus chakra because you feel you're suppressing the emotions of guilt, shame, or self-doubt or whatever. You're suppressing those emotions through lying, jamming all that suppression into your energy systems, and one by one those systems start to become poisoned by these stagnating negative emotions. Next thing you know, now your solar plexus is out of whack. Then next up, your root chakra. Next up, your relationships, your sacral chakra. So by lying once, you shut down throat chakra, solar plexus, root, and sacral. And then also bleeding into the heart, third eye, and crown. And it's like, is it worth it? Do you not trust the power of the all is? Do you think you're God and can override the universal truths that we all are entrained to? Like the shaman resonance, we are entrained to that. Circadian rhythm, we are entrained. Like, you think you just got a pass for that day? And that saying that out loud made me think, those are the people that don't actually know the true power. They've never stopped long enough from doing what blocks their systems. They haven't stopped for long enough, keeping that all open and in alignment to receive the full power. And I thought it'd be enough to witness others go through it and feel that motivation and that trust. But there's still this idea that we're separate. That, yeah, it worked for you, but it's not going to work for me. No, these are universal truths. But still, it's not enough. Lying kills so much. Do I have hard conversations with people? All the time. Does that mean that they're ineffective? No. Does one of us walk away upset? No. You can speak your truth effectively. Effective communication is when both the receiver and the sender walk away satisfied. If you can't do that, you need to ask yourself what's going on with yourself. Like, it's getting serious, guys. I don't know, maybe that's just me at this point of the journey, years into it, consistently choosing these new truths that I've learned. And I think you just get to a point where you start to just feel really panicky that no one else is recognizing the power. I don't know if that's just where I'm at, or if that's like, yeah, a personal thing. I'm not sure, but I'm just starting to feel like we're running out of time. this crazy feeling of like, if you don't get on the boat now, like you're gonna get left behind. Like, and I feel this inside, and I'm trying so hard not to like terrify people, but I'm just like, master this now, especially now within this season. You only have till the super buck moon to nail in these new things, and if you keep going back to the old ways, you're not nailing it in, and then you're gonna have to repeat the whole next year. It's gonna be you just repeating the same lessons. Aren't you tired of that? Don't you want new lessons and new challenges? I mean, there's always gonna be a challenge, but the ones that kept repeating, those are the ones that made me wanna, cause like, how is it the same? At least with like new challenges, you're a little intrigued. You're a little like, oh, what's going on over here? You're interested, right? And then you get creative to come up with like a new thing to overcome the next challenge. And right, but when it's the same one over and over, you're just like, why does everything in life hurt me? And it's not there for that. It's just because you haven't gotten out of that hole, that limbo of the repetition of the same lesson over and over again. Oh, that's so terrifying. And I'll tell you, like, we were just talking about this too. It's like having friends that you can be honest with and having them be honest with you. It feels like you can walk like this. Get your chin up a little higher. The feeling of like armor, like you have an army behind your back. Because you do. There's no doubt there. Because the bag's not full of holes. You know what I'm saying? It works when you actually put stuff into it. It actually does the thing that you're looking for there. And so you feel more and more confident, more supported. And also just like being able to be honest inside of vulnerability with these people who love me. Now, nothing can touch me. You can come at me and even try and poke at the shame and the guilt wounds that I may have had. But I don't have them anymore because I was able to use my safe space of the friends that love and care about me to eradicate, to cleanse that wound, right? So the next time someone comes around and tries to use it against me, it's like, oh, no, my friends already love and accept me, and they're just going to help me overcome the problem. They're not demonizing me or condescending me, but they are holding me to a higher standard of accountability now that I've voiced my vulnerability. Now they're showing up for me in that way that pushes me towards my highest potential. And that power of just that friendship also pours back into that solar plexus chakra. And it also helps you uncover and unlayer the hidden authenticity of who you actually are without all those suppressed emotions inside. And then also to have that unconditional love and acceptance, even though I made a mistake, like I did with my old group of friends. You're like, oh, okay. You just love me. You just want to see me get better. And now I just feel so full of love, not fear. But if you don't allow that process, and you keep those lies up, you live in fear. Now, what does the armor of fear look like? What army, when you visualize you fighting a battle with fear as your army, not against fear, with fear, what does that look like to you? In my head, I see a lot of running. I see one person alone on that battlefield. Because fear doesn't charge. Fear doesn't spearhead. Fear doesn't motivate. Fear doesn't create change. Fear harms. And then you can go back. Oh, my Bible's in the other room, but I was going to grab it. You can go back into that wisdom's call proverb. Those who refuse to find me, wisdom, harm themselves. Those who do not accept me or something like that, or maybe it's find me again. It's just, or those who hate me, love death. And you don't gain wisdom by embodying fear, because when you embody fear, you run away, you lie, you don't spearhead the situation. You don't meet it head on. And then you don't gain wisdom. Because what wisdom is there to gain if you're lying through all of your experiences? The experiences that are hand-tailored to help you reach your highest potential, but I'm just not gonna look at that one. That one doesn't, okay, so I'll accept that one because it's, I agree and it's easy, but that one's hard and it's gross and it like challenges me. So I'm not going to follow. But this truth I will follow. Because it aligns with what I want, not what I need. When you start aligning with what do I need and not what do I want, your life drastically changes. For the better, too, man. Because I didn't realize all I actually wanted was exactly what I need. But you don't find that out until you go through the trials and tribulations that erase that uncover that the wants are not what you want. I am beyond grateful that I didn't get everything I wanted. Thank you. Because you gave me everything I needed. And I pray for that every day. And the self-discipline to maintain it. And the self-discipline to grow it. And to live my authentic truth. Because how am I to expect people to meet me when I can't even meet myself at a depth level? I want people to show up for me, but I won't show up for myself. I want people to be honest with me, but I won't be honest with myself. I want people to love me, but I don't want to love myself. How's that work? It doesn't. You're expecting a lot of people to jump through hoops of fire for you. The same hoops that you refuse to jump through yourself. But now have an expectation that others keep showing up for you. Keep doing what they do to help you. And I'm telling you guys, if you can't show up for yourself, there's no amount of people showing up for you that's going to help your life in any way. Because you're never going to recognize the blessings and the gratitude of what's happening. Because you're so caught up in the fear, so caught up in self, and you're not gaining that confidence and conviction of authenticity because you're not jumping through those fires yourself. It just like creates an entire, like, here, if you're only going to meet yourself here, but I see you here, who are you really harming right now? Like, people just, whatever, if that's what you want, but like, it's you that needs to want better for yourself. The whole term, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink, and damn, do I understand that. I don't like living in fear. I don't know about you guys. I've lived in fear for a very long time. And then I started taking the appropriate moves and changes to not live in fear. And I'm not going back. So, something to think about. You're cutting yourself off from the direct energy flow of utilizing that flow to create your life, to manifest your life. Keep getting caught up in the wants and the desires of the flesh and lying because of that feeling of being roped in with the desires of the flesh. You're in hell already. Because you're cutting off source power. And who, what can't reach hell? Light. Hell is typically picturized as being in the center of earth where no light can reach it, meaning God cannot go there because God is creation and nothing can be created without light. So you're already in hell because you disconnected yourself from the light. No, not even disconnected. You just can't be reached by the light. All right, ponder that for a while. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.